Hey guys, it's the Whale coming at you with my updated Sky Striker deck for the new ban list, April 2024. Obviously, we all know Engage came back to 3, so this deck kind of got a boost. Not really, but this is the list that I took to locals today. I managed to get second place. Out of 4 rounds, I only went 3-1, so it wasn't too bad. Though some of the games were a very uphill battle. This deck's extremely slow. Anyway, let's get right to the deck profile. So for the monsters, we are playing the obligatory 3 Ray. All right. So this is your main monster. Obviously, nothing's ever gonna change with this card. It's obviously getting some new support, but there's always gonna be 3 Ray in the deck. So Ray is your main Sky Striker. This is going to be more of an in-depth deck profile. Like always, I want to talk about my ratios and the type of Sky Striker build I went for, because what I like about Sky Strikers is that there's multiple ways of building it. You can go a more hand trap heavy build or a more board breaker heavy build. I went a more board breaker heavy build, so this is a going second list. So let's keep going. We are playing the 1 Sky Striker Ace Rose. This card essentially it allows you to link climb. I barely ever used it. I more used it, obviously, for linkage and just to kind of have another name in the graveyard, so that when I would remove an extra deck monster that my opponent controls in the extra monster zone, I would just special summon it back, and I can, again, link climb or go for some damage. So, for the rest of the Sky Striker cards, we're obviously playing 3 Engage. I mean, this card is obviously extremely, really, really good. Yeah, unfortunately, like I said, this deck is very rogue tier, and it's a very slow paced deck. There's just so much in the meta that really hurt this deck. But obviously, the good thing about Striker is how versatile it is and how malleable it is. So that you can main deck a lot of stuff that a lot of other decks would not be able to. So, 3 Engage, again, this lets you search out your entire engine. That being said, another 3 copies of Rose with 3 linkage. Linkage is fantastic, not only allowing you to have that OTK option available, though you rarely ever pull it off, maybe 1 in 100 duels maybe, using the linkage OTK, but this card right here allows you to have access to your extra deck if you do not have access to Ray itself. So this is extremely good, and not only that, it obviously sends your useless cards that you no longer need to the graveyard to not only fill up the graveyard with that spell count, that necessary spell count that needs up to 3, but yeah, it just procs some of your other cards, like your Area Zero. So we are also running 3 of the other best Sky Striker cards. Honestly, Sky Striker has a lot of really good cards. It's just it's very outclassed right now. So 3 Widow Anchor. Widow Anchor is fantastic. Be careful with the stealing of it. That's actually the 1 round that I lost. I stole my opponent's my opponent's monster, and I ended up losing. It was against Flu, so I stole his M-Pen, and I had a couple other Sky Striker cards, and I couldn't activate them because it was in the main monster zone. So please think ahead. Like I said, this deck kind of has a high ceiling in that regard, that you kind of have to think a couple moves ahead. This card is just, again, fantastic, targeting negation, and then obviously you can steal and go for game a lot of the times. This would be either your way of getting rid of problematic monsters by link climbing, or just attacking for game. So 3 of the Widow Anchor. For the 2 ofs, now we're playing the 2 Afterburners. I opted, like I said, for a more board breaker heavy build. I saw this card when I needed it. If not, I would search it off of the Engage. I think 2 is a really good number, but honestly, I mean, it's very dependent on your local meta. So, like I said, I kind of really wanted to commit to that hard going second, board breaking. So 2 Afterburners is really good, and it's your source of back row removal as well. 2 Widow Anchor. 2 Shark Cannon. So this right here is your Monster Reborn / Banisher, or Banisher / Monster Reborn. I think that right now the meta calls for this card being 2, maybe even a 3 of. I did not regret running this at 2, except that 1 Flu matchup that this card was completely useless in, of course. But other than that, against Snake Eyes and against Voiceless Voice, which that one was a very difficult match. I'm surprised I won that one. This card was very clutch. So please keep in mind, this card's so good. just to link climb or just to have like to bring back a Fenrir that your opponent has and to use it as an interruption is really good. For another access to Rose, Hornet drones, this card's fantastic. This card will probably never ever go back to 2 or to 3 because it's just so splashable, but still a great, fantastic card. We are running the 1 multi-roll. Multi-roll, I was running it at 2 in the going second list, but honestly, I feel like my deck is so consistent enough that I didn't need to run it. I was running it at 2, but I ended up switching one of them for the second Afterburners. So by all means, if you guys just want to run the 1 Afterburners and then the multi-roll, the second multi-roll, that's really good. I just hated opening hands of multiple multi-rolls. So when I would open up 2 multi-rolls, that was so detrimental for me, and those were usually the games that I lost on Dueling Book. But when I opened up at least 2 Afterburners or something like that, I mean, they do stuff, so it's not bad. For the 1-of, obviously we're running the 1 Area 0. This card, I'm back and forth on either cutting it or not cutting it, because the thing is, Engage is at 3. Area 0 was really good back in the day because it allowed you to dig for your Sky Striker stuff, but Engage is at 3 now. So Area 0 really isn't needed because you always have an access to Ray or to any Sky Striker card. But I opted to run the Area 0 here because, I mean, it just allowed me dig more. And it was just a free fodder to send off multi-roll. And it did come in clutch, every once in a while. That's it for the Striker spells. I think that's pretty standard and generic. Minus maybe the... the 2 of Shark Cannon and the 2 of Afterburners. I just think those 2 cards are extremely, really, really good. So let's go on to the supporting spells or the consistency spells. We are running the 3 Upstart Goblin. This is, of course, for my build. One thing I want to note is what I love about Sky Striker is that every player builds their deck differently. Some run Upstart, some run Desires, and some don't run any at all. Maybe they run the Tune package or, I don't know, the Foolish Burial package, whichever one. There's so many ways of running it. So here's my reasoning behind this. Since I'm opting to go second and breaking the board, I'm already kind of opting to not kill my opponent in that turn. That was my main idea behind this. What the Sky Striker players say is like Upstart Goblin is really bad in this deck because giving your opponent that extra 1,000 life points puts them away from that OTK range. But the thing is, in Sky Striker, at least the way I play it, I nitpick on my opponent. I chip them little by little, and that's when I go in for the kill. Or my opponent just forfeits. Maybe it's the wrong way of playing Sky Striker, but that's how I do it at least. Desires, I did not feel comfortable running Desires because of the fact that even though all my important Sky Striker cards are at 3, Rose is at 1. And I'd rather have Rose in the graveyard than Banished face down. So yeah, because that would give me access to that extra 1,000 attack from linkage. So I just didn't like Desires all too much. I have a bad experience with that card. So that is pretty much it for my consistency. Also, this is a thrustless version. I do not own thrusts. If I did own thrust, that would probably get replaced with Upstart Goblins. So if you own thrusts, go for the thrusts. But this is like more for fun build for locals, Like I said, for the consistency, we are running the 1 Reinforcement of the Army. It's just a completely blank spell that lets you get to Ray in the graveyard. So now, like I said, this is a board breaker build, a heavy going second build. So going second, I feel like for me is the way to play Sky Striker the best, and it's the way I play Sky Striker the best. But again, every player is different. We're applying 3 Forbidden Droplet. This should be Striker Forbidden Droplet because this card is so phenomenal in this deck, just allowing you to kind of chain things and sending things to the graveyard to meet that 3 spell count requirement is just cracked. This card was MVP for the entire tournament. This card was so good. Anytime I had this in hand, in my opening hand, I just felt so comfortable knowing that my opponent would not be able to respond, depending on the card type that I send and everything like that. So Droplet, always a 3 of, I think, in Striker, especially going second. For the rest of the going second cards to help me clear the board, 2 Lightning Storms. A great spell overall. Actually I only saw it once against Voiceless Voice, and I just called back row, and well, that's how I won that game. Yeah. We're running 2 talents. Like I said, I do not have thrusts. So, yeah, I think 2 talents is just fine. You know, they see engage. They know engage is at 3. Do they ash it? Do they not? Depending. Most of the times they do ash it, especially if they see that heavy spell count in the graveyard. They do ash it so you don't get the drop. But hey, you have this to draw too. So, joke's on them. Breaking boards. Mind control. 2 of them. This card always demands a response. Always. This card is so fantastic, especially in this deck, just you being able to link climb and everything like that. So, you know, you have multiple ways of breaking the boards with Forbidden Droplet, Lightning Storms, Talents, allows you to steal your opponent's monsters, Mind Control, and of course, while I'm here, let's just go straight for the Change of Heart. So we have multiple ways of getting our opponent's monsters to link climb, getting rid of those problematic pesky monsters. So really good all in all. And for the last spell, I am running the 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. You can run Called by the Grave if you want, but since this is a going second build, I just felt like Called by was really not the play, because usually the way I think about it is I usually want Called by on your first turn so that if they decide to Shifter you, Ash Blossom you, any type of hand trap, you got it. Going second, if my opponent even has a Princess on the, you know, on the graveyard, in the graveyard or something like that, well, I have engaged to search out my Shark Cannon. I'm not really too scared about that. So I'm more scared of Shifter than anything, but they'll probably Shifter me on their turn anyway because they're going first. So yeah. And like I said, for the board breakers, we are running the 3 evenly matched. This is my favorite card in the entire game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah, a lot of Sky Striker players might think... By the way, sorry, before I get there, this card resolved 100% of the time. Now that there's no monster negate like Baron or Omni negates like Baron and stuff like that, the only out that most cards that most decks had was Solemn Judgment. Okay, but none of my players saw Solemn Judgment, and they guess what? I went second every single time. We literally half of the deck is board breaking cards. So I think Evenly is a phenomenal card this format. So Evenly for sure, I think should be mained in Striker. That being said, the reason why I'm going to give you guys both sides of the story, why a lot of Striker lists don't play Evenly, is because, well, simply put, you need your Hayate attack. But that was back when Engage was at 1 or 2. I found myself not really needing Hayate as much as I used to. So I think Evenly is the play to go. I mean, the way to go. So, yeah, that's my whole opinion on Evenly. And for the last 2 cards of the deck, I am running 2 Panker Tops. Panker Tops, it was just a quick way to kind of force something. I had 2 empty slots. I didn't really know what to put. Obviously, I'm not going to put 2 hand traps or anything like that. I didn't want to put a Hamp in or, you know, something in that regard. So I decided on 2 Panker Tops. And it actually worked. It did force out a couple of plays, a couple of awkward plays. A lot of the times, like if I knew my opponent had something, I would special summon out the Pank. You know, my opponent had to do something or whatever, I would activate the effect, tribute, pop a card, my opponent would be forced to respond, and then I would go straight into battle phase and go Evenly. And then I would clean up the rest of the board like that. I mean, it was really that simple. The deck kind of, in a way, plays itself when it's breaking boards, but when when you still have a lot to think about in terms of those, you know, how you're going to break them and utilize the resources that you have to the best of your abilities. Let's go to the extra deck, which I probably should have put in order. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm apologizing. Usually I'm more prepared, but I'm tired. So we're running the 3 Kaigari. I mean, nothing ever changes there. Kaigari is the main player of the extra deck most of the time. Allows you to, you know, get your striker spells from the graveyard. Yeah, I mean, this card is just really good. 3 Nshizuku. You always want to go Hayate, Kaigari, get whatever you dumped usually, and then Enfei Nshizuku effect to basically search whatever Sky Striker spell you need. Sometimes engage, sometimes Widow Anchor, or sometimes just a way to get into the extra deck. Honestly, that's pretty much it. You guys got to play it smart, though, so please keep that in mind. Speaking about Hayate, we're only running 2 Hayate. I don't find myself ever needing the 3rd one. I didn't miss the 3rd one or anything like that. I am not running Kaina. So, yeah, keep that in mind. For the rest of the Sky Strikers, we are running the one Zeke. This card's really good. You can totally run 2 of them if you want. The one Azalea. Azalea, never went into it, but it was there. I went into it once, sorry, that's a lie, against the voiceless voice player because he had a light and I had Ray. But that was pretty much it. I mean, it's discount SP, I guess, right? That's what they call it. I don't know. For the rest of the links, the one Dark, one Hida, one Nightmare Unicorn. Okay, I apologize for my brokenness. I do not have access code Talker. If you have access code Talker, for sure, go for it. It's a great OTK tool, and it's very easy to make in this deck. I just do not have access to it. Did I miss it? I think there was once where I could have OTK'd, but the game was already won anyway if I didn't OTK because I had complete setup and my opponent's board was broken. So, yeah. And then for the XYZs, I'm just generic stuff. Zeus and Typhon. You know, for like when you steal monsters with Widow Anchor, you can steal XYZs, attack into them, either Zeus it, or you can go into a Typhon or something like that. And of course, the most important thing, Ray token. So for the spells, I'm sorry, for my side deck, look, I'm gonna be honest with you, my side deck was very jank. This was kind of rushed, but I guess I'll still show it. It's mostly hand traps. Since I'm already building to go second always, it was very difficult for me to want to include going second cards in sighting. So yeah, I guess. So I just included a bunch of hand traps that I thought would be kind of useful for me. So 3 Ash. I mean, it's the best hand trap. 3 Droll. This one I actually got sighted in quite a bit and was very good in all the bits that I sighted in against the voiceless player, against the Snake Eyes players. They got sighted in, and it really did kind of hurt them quite a bit. 3 Nib. I never sighted this card out. All my locals players were very carefully playing around this. So, you know, yeah, I just didn't sight it in. And for the rest of the, I guess, side, only 2 Soul Release. This was just a meme. I didn't use this at all. Like I said, I'm already building as it going second, so there was nothing I wanted to do to go first. I always wanted to go second. So yeah, guys, that is it for my Sky Striker, my second place Sky Striker deck for locals today. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you guys have any questions, just leave a comment. I always try my best to respond. Anyways, thanks guys. See you later.